Hey guys, what's going on? Today I've got for y'all again the Lego 10295. It's the Porsche 911. Now I know this has been out for a couple weeks now, and I know I've done way too many videos on this, but I've spent a really good amount of time building it and rebuilding it and rebuilding it over and again, and I thought it'd be time to finally share my thoughts on this. What I have here is the turbo version, but you can also build the Targa version out of the box, and a lot of folks are finding that you could build just about every other variant under the sun with this Lego set. Before I get into the details, I think I'm going to cap it off by saying that to date, this is my favorite creator car set. I have had a couple in the past, not all of them, but I'm pretty sure this one takes the cake. It's 1,458 pieces, $150, and for me, worth about every penny. First of all, in terms of the finished model, especially in the turbo form or the coupe form, it looks really great. I mean, I'm a big fan of how it came out, how they were able to replicate true-to-life versions. What really impresses me is the detail work that they did with this model. I mean, for example, on the rear bumper, you've got a contrast and alternation between the black plastic strips and the white painted bumper. And then you have another black plastic strip below the taillights again. I think they executed the front buggy headlights perfectly, and the way that they angled it upwards on the side profile is again another really nice touch. You can also see the wheel arches, and on the turbo version you get some really nice wide wheel arches. And you've also got some really nice detail on the engine cover, especially with the turbo version. As with pretty much all the Creator Series cars, all the doors, the engine cover, and the front bonnet open to reveal all the bits of the interior. In terms of interior, this car is a really nice flavor of tan and caramel brown. It is kind of like a dual tone interior, which is really nice. It's got a nice classic vibe to it. It's got rear seats, which I don't know if anyone could have fit in those back then. It's got front seats that can rotate forward to allow the back passengers to get in. And it's got your emergency brake, manual gear shift, and what's really takes the cake for me here is the working steering that's available as part of this model. I know they did it as part of the Mustang. I do have quite a few of the Creator sets older than that, and as far as I know, none of those had it. So I hope it's something Lego continues to do with these Creator series, because even if you're not going to play with it so much, it's really nice when you put it on display to be able to have the wheels facing one way or another, or straight forward if you want. So going around to these opening bits here, the front bonnet, if you do have the Targa version, you will be able to store the top inside this bonnet. And going around to the back on the engine cover, you've got a really sweet turbo engine there with a really huge intercooler. And you've also got an alternate build if you choose to do any of the base variants or Targa as well. Again, I do want to point out the rear wheel arches, which are so apparent on this turbo version. So the model's going to come in a basic white color, but I think it's very fitting to the era of the original 911s, and it really does help to bring out the contrast in the black trim pieces, so I do like how it comes out. The only worry I have, and a lot of you guys are going to have, I'm sure, is going to be the longevity over time. You might get a yellow Porsche sometime down the road depending on how you choose to display it. Also, because of the Technic elements and the steering, the front does look a little bit messier than the Creator models without working steering, but I'll take it any day just to have the functionality of the steering. One thing that's also worth mentioning with this is that all the parts here are printed. We don't have any stickers, which is great, because with my experience in stickers in the past, especially with the cars that you want to put on display, you really want to knock it out the first time around, and if you're having to replace stickers or realign them, you can really do a job on messing them up unintentionally. The model comes with 3 variants of plates. I prefer the yellow New York one here, but you do get a European set of plates as well as a Japanese set of plates. In terms of build quality, this thing is pretty solid. The doors and the engine cover and the front bonnet open up fairly solid. I'd say the front bonnet is definitely the strongest of the opening elements. The rear, when you do have the turbo version, is a little bit loose unless you get it near the top, and the doors are pretty solid for a model of this type. I've thought before that you could pick this car up from the roof, but I did it once and the whole model fell to the floor, so I do not recommend picking this thing up by the roof. So going to the Targa version, I did build that version as well. I initially thought I might even like it more than the Turbo, but I found that it's a little bit elongated to my taste. In real life, these Porsche 911s, especially the Targas, you can really see that they were a little bit stubby and taller looking. When you build the Lego version, to me it looks a little bit longer than it did in the real life variant. But from a lot of different angles, it looked totally fine. The rear window does have very visible seams in it. To me, it actually doesn't bother me, but you're gonna know it's there. To some, it does bother them. For me, it was a non-issue. What I do love about the Targa is the contrast you get with the black roll bar, and you get the simplicity with the rear arches being gone and the black wheels turned into silver. It really brings out a very classic look of the 911, which I definitely love. What you get with this that you don't with any of the other cars is that by the time you're done building one of the variants that you choose, you've got so many leftover pieces that really you can unofficially build so many different variations of this car. In addition to the official Turbo and the Targa version, you can build a base Carrera coupe. You can build a Carrera coupe with a higher output motor and the wider rear arches but without the spoiler. You can build a Targa Turbo. And you can even build, if you really want to be pushing it, a Cabriolet version of this car as well. I do want to put a disclaimer though that with the Turbo Targa variant and the Cabriolet variant, that they're a little bit of a sketchier build quality at the end of the day, and that's due to the fact that with those particular variants you're really low on the extra piece count for essential pieces, and you kind of have to sacrifice a lot to make do with the final build. So far, my favorite variant of the 911 has got to go to the unofficial base coupe. I just love the cleanliness you get and the classic look you get from eliminating the rear spoiler. And I could go either way on the rear arches, but I just kind of love the cleaned up look version of this car. I did do a feature on that particular build and you can check it out also if you'd like. So to summarize, I'd pretty much say the same thing I said at the beginning of the video. The Lego 911 is my favorite creator car to date, and I might be biased that it is a 911, but to me the features you get in being able to build so many different variants of this car, even though unofficially, really appealed to me. So I've been having a blast the past couple weeks taking it apart and rebuilding it over and over again to do a different variant that I've kind of grown attached to this car. And to top that off with just the general execution of this car in general, the attention and care they gave to replicating the real life model, I'm really feeling the love that the designer had for this model. If you're a Porsche owner driving around in a P car, especially a classic one, you're probably going to really enjoy this thing. If you're just a Volkswagen Audi group person in general, I think they're going to really be enthusiastic about building this as well. And if you're just a fan of the Creator Series cars in general, and maybe for some reason you might be on the fence with this particular car, I definitely recommend you try it out. So that pretty much wraps it up for me. Thank you guys for hanging in there and checking out the 911 with me. I definitely want to leave you guys with some of the angles and the views. And that pretty much wraps it up for the 911. Until then, I'll see y'all on the next one. Thanks again. Thank you all for checking out the video, and I hope you enjoyed it. If you did like it, I hope you could leave a like and maybe subscribe. I've got a lot more coming in the future and would love to see you all on the next one. Anyway, take care and thanks again.